Hi everyone. I had zero intention of getting on live today, and I'm not gonna lie, my heart is kind of racing right now because I feel like I needed to share my heart with you. And I was running some errands this afternoon and really felt God speaking to me. And that has only happened a few times where I very clearly heard God telling me that I needed to use my voice. And so I am obedient and I am listening, and I feel like I need to share what I see happening and has been happening and what needs to be addressed, if you will. What I see happening is something that I'm very familiar with, and that is that fear is becoming a bigger epidemic than what we are experiencing with COVID. And why I wanted to talk about this is because I know fear all too well, and it's gonna be hard for me to share this because it's very personal, but as you guys know, 6 years ago, my dad passed away by suicide, and 3 years later, my brother committed suicide as well. And I have to tell you guys, among every feeling I experienced, the biggest feeling that I had, especially after losing my brother too, was fear. And it was absolutely debilitating some days. I feared that I was going to lose every person that way. I feared that it was going to happen to me. I feared that anytime anyone was having a hard time in their life, that's exactly what was going to happen. I couldn't even get to the point, you guys, that if I didn't hear from my mom or my Ethan or a close friend of Brianna, for instance, that I talk to daily, people that I can always get in touch with quickly, it was a fear consumed me, absolutely consumed me, because that was what I knew. And I kept thinking the worst. And it took me a really long time, you guys, to understand that I was allowing that fear to seep in. And that was humbling because it was all a choice that I was making. I was choosing that when I didn't hear back from somebody, that my mind was going to instantly go to, I'm about to go through what I just went through twice. And it took me a long time, like I said, to understand that that was what I was choosing. That I had to take literally a few minutes to calm myself down, to say that this is not going to happen again. It's going to be okay. God is in control. You need to seriously just take a deep breath and calm down. The reason I want to share this with you guys is because living like that was miserable. I was constantly afraid that the worst was going to happen again. And I feel like hopefully you can understand why I felt that way. And I felt like it was justifiable, because going through that kind of a loss once is one thing and going through it again is another. It starts to instill that in your mind. And the reason I wanted to share this, you guys, is because I feel like we are living in a world that we are so fearful every single day. We are afraid to get together with our family. We are afraid to go out in public. You guys, we are afraid to do anything. And like I said at the beginning, this is not me judging you for being afraid. I think that what is happening is real, but what I also know is that the fear is bigger than what is going on. And that fear, you guys, comes from Satan. And it makes me so angry that that is becoming so much bigger than what's happening with COVID. And I just want to encourage you guys to stop living in fear. And I know it's so hard. It's so easy to watch the news and to see these headlines and to see all of this stuff happening, but you guys, turn it off. We have to turn it off. I think there is a portion of us that needs to be aware. I think there's nothing wrong with being aware of what's happening, but it is so easy to start slipping into that feeling of fear. You guys, I had a baby during this pandemic, if you did not know, and that was another time in my life that I could have let fear really seep in, and I did for a degree. You know, before Price was born, I was seeing a lot of things of potentially having a baby in isolation. I thought Ethan might not have been able to be with me. I thought, what if something happened to me, like I had a fever and something, you know, crazy was gonna happen. All of those pieces started to happen, and I had to absolutely rebuke Satan from that situation, because this time in my life is supposed to be so joyous. It's supposed to be celebrated. It's supposed to be shared with family, all of these things, and I had to absolutely turn that off again, because if you let that start to seep in, Satan's gonna take hold of that, and that is going to become your daily feeling. I can promise you that. And I know how much of a struggle it is to release that fear and to let go of it. But if I can give you one piece of advice, is to absolutely plant yourself in your faith. Listen to what God is telling us in all of this. You guys, we have to start really rooting ourselves in our faith. And if you don't have faith, I'm encouraging you now to open up your Bible and start reading, because we need Jesus more than ever. And if you are feeling fear, it is absolutely okay to say out loud that you rebuke Satan. You are not going to be afraid. You are going to trust what God is doing in our life, and you are going to hold on to that. And again, I'm not telling you to not be cautious. I'm not telling you to not take care of yourself and to be aware of what's happening, but be more aware of where your mind is going and what you are choosing to believe. So I hope if you needed to hear that today, that was some kind of encouragement, because I truly felt God speaking to me that you needed to talk about how you lived in fear after loss and how to let go of that, because we are all in this collectively together, and I want us to get back to having a joyful life and understanding that God is 1000% in control regardless of what you're seeing on the news.